YouTube people. That shit happens all the fucking time. Like, I'll see, like, videos of, like, enter footage here. And they're like, I guess we didn't get the footage.
Yeah.
It's like fucking all the time.
Jesus Christ, dude. I can't remember the last time I fucking seen you.
Yeah, probably last time I was down in Atlanta.
Probably that, dude. I mean, I remember when we lived in Maine. For eventually, when I have viewers, for whoever's watching this, Rob is really good friends with my oldest brother John. They went to. I was never at Pius the same time you guys were, but
no.
But I vaguely remember you.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember, you were like 6'50", and yeah. I remember when we lived in Maine. Let me turn this up. When we lived in, thank you for having headphones with the microphone, man. Everyone else fucks that up.
Hey man, I'm a professional.
Yeah. Dude, I'm still trying to figure out how to do this correctly, because I'm
a learning process.
I'm pretty retarded, like, technologically.
Yeah.
So I was kind of always leaned on John for that shit. So but with this, like, what I'm doing is I talk really loudly. Yep. And then I have the microphone on my laptop record what's coming out of the speakers. What I need to figure out how to do is get a direct recording.
Okay, so
of the audio.
I watched your other things when you guys were talking about this stuff, and while you were talking about it, I basically went to, I don't know if you know, it's a Monoprice. It's a California-based tech company, but they make all of their stuff in-house. So it's not like the bomb shit, but it's like, it's workable. I've had HDMI cables from them for fucking 10 years now, and they're still kicking around, right? So I put together like a little package, cost about $163, and that's in Canadian, so it might be even less, but it gets you like a mic, it gets you like a pop thing so that you're not fucking spitting into your mic, a mixer, all the shit you need just to get like yourself off the ground.
Oh, nice.
You can scrape that money together. I can send you the link.
I definitely can.
And that shit gets to you so quickly now.
I have a microphone from when I started a podcast like 2 years ago. We only ever did one episode.
Okay.
And
but they have a package, but I was just like, fuck that shit. I'll just like mix and match the pieces.
I've got a microphone. Okay. I think it's a good mic. I think it's pretty good. I just haven't set it up.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, especially for podcasting. Like, I used to deal with bands and stuff, so like you'd have to have certain mics because people would be screaming and they'd be like getting knocked around stage and shit like that. But like, if you're sitting in your room just having chats and shit, you can get away with a pretty basic setup.
Yeah. Well, I also came up into this was John's room when he lived up here.
I thought I recognized it.
There's his synthesizer. Yeah.
I think I fired a couple fucking darts in that room.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I'm still trying to figure it out, because the first one I did, I like recorded it, and then I went back and I uploaded it to YouTube. And definitely a learning curve. It took like 40 hours to upload, and the audio is terrible. And I was like, what the fuck? Because and I realized, I was like, okay, well, I was screen recording it, and this is a brand new MacBook Pro. So so screen recording it was higher than 4K resolution.
Oh, great.
So I didn't realize I was uploading it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, because I sent the link to someone who knows what they're doing. They're like, dude, why'd you upload it like Blu-ray quality? And I was like, what? And and then I was like, and the audio sucked. So I was like, had this like crystal clear and I was like, what the fuck? So I finally went back, and now I compress it to like 540p. I figure if I get some subscribers, I'll take the time and start uploading better videos. But for right now, I just want to be able to upload it. But now I take the movie, I put it in iMovie, and I jack up the volume. But it's still so now the volume, you can hear it now. So
I mean, you do what you got to do when you start out with this stuff. Like I used to sit in my basement doing like music on this stupid $20 like thing that would record into my computer and had all these like modules and ways you could like augment the sound, but it sounded like absolute garbage. But it was fun as shit to work with, and it taught me a lot, right?
Exactly. I mean, dude, iPhone 4 right here, this piece of shit. I started I started doing.
Yeah, bro.
Is that what you have?
Keep it poor.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you get the. Yeah, I got a case.
These are like the Nokia 510s of like nowadays,
yeah,
man.
Dude,
I don't even have a case on this bitch, just a magnet.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That little thing, fucking 8 gigabytes of memory. When I moved home, I moved home in 2016. Is that yours or mine?
Sorry, no, that was me. That was me. My sister. My bad.
Yeah, let me silence mine. Yeah, I moved home in 2016, and fuck it, I didn't know what else to do, so I literally started like just making memes on that.
So give me your timeline, because like I know like you guys were in Atlanta. Where are you now?
We're in Maryland now.
We're in Maryland now.
Oddly enough, this room is identical to John's room because it has all of his shit. It's the same type of ceiling, and it's over the garage.
Yeah.
So it's literally identical to the one in Georgia. I mean, it's literally. Yeah,
the way it's laid out.
Like here's a lot far Lopez. Hey. Yeah, it's like literally all of John's shit. Yeah, and it has the same little like wall, that little short wall.
Yeah, the little hideaway thing.
Yeah, I'll use to hide alcohol in there. Yeah, so it's literally.
That's crazy.
I never really realized.
Look into the bathroom and see you assholes and Pat.
Yeah. I never realized till you said something. I was like, "This holy shit! This really is identical to that."
Yeah, these are really similar.
Yeah. Holy shit. But yeah, so yeah, I went to Valdosta, Georgia for my first 2 years.
Okay.
So I started college fall 2009. Valdosta is bumfuck. It's
I'm familiar with.
Yeah. So I did that for 2 years. Transferred to UGA in fall 2011, and I got really, really obsessively serious about school.
Okay.
Like psychopath, like just not like, oh, I started doing well. I mean, like started like 4.0, started like breaking every curve and like
man,
genetics, organic chemistry, like went through the wall, published research, shadowed doctors and everything, did everything, studied for the MCAT for 9 months, scored in the top 4 percentile on it in 2013, and graduated UGA in December 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Got into med school in Miami, but like probably like a month before John died is when this was like March 2014. Mm-hmm. I sent them an email, and I was just kind of like, thank you but no thank you. So between like December 2013 and March 2014, I was just like, man, like I did it, like I did the thing, I got the goal.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I'm so fucking miserable. This is all I do. I do.
And you finally had reached that end and be like, I'm still fucking miserable. I thought I was supposed to be happy.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's the thing. Like I couldn't even lie to myself about that because I was like, what was I expecting? Now I have 4 years of med school and then 6 years of residency. I was like, dude, I am not happy. And it was going to be $80,000 a year, and I was like, shit, man. I don't think this isn't something that you dip a toe in. This is you do it or you don't.
Exactly. Because even in 1 year, you're that's
the trap. That's the trap. They say like, well, once you go, you got to finish because the only way you can ever pay back med school debt is with a doctor's salary.
How the fuck else you making $80,000?
So I was like, I don't know.
This and being a doctor, that's about it these days.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of. It sounds somewhat similar to what happened to me after Pius. So like I know like when I graduated, I kind of just like disappeared.
Yeah.
And that was my family, right? My family basically fucking shanghaied me back up here, and my dad had no interest in like education. So I don't know if you know, I was actually the first person in senior year at Pius to be accepted. Like first day, sitting in like Father Lopez's class, I was already in Oglethorpe, like
really?
Full acceptance, and I had a $17,000 scholarship, like that I was gonna build upon.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck this shit, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I don't have to do it.
Right? I remember taking Father Dan's final exam in 5 minutes and then just running out the fucking I was just
finished.
Like, fuck this shit, man. Because I was also taking marine bio, and Bailey's exam coincided with Dan's, and I was just like, what do I actually give a shit about?
I'm finished. I'm fucking done. I do remember you've like vanished.
Yeah, that was my dad. Like, so you know how down in the States there's like graduation parties and stuff like that. And so we were doing the rounds on that, and he basically straight up told me, he's like, I didn't come down here and I'm not hanging around so you can party. Like, we're going back. And so like literally 2 days after graduation, I was in a fucking truck headed back north
to Canada.
And like my fucking life just went off the rails again. Because like my family's they're good people, but they don't know what the fuck to do when it comes to like supporting people. And like especially like someone like me who had a tumultuous childhood. Right? I never knew my parents together. My dad's on his third wife. My mom's single now, but has gone through 5 husbands. Like just like fucking, they never gave really much of a shit about me other than how I made them look. So like even when it came to Oglethorpe, my dad, he thought it was like a literary university, but what he misunderstood was it was a liberal arts university. And I was like, no, man. I was like, the school I go to is technically a liberal arts school. Like, and it was fine. Like, fuck, man. Like, when I look back at Pius, and considering like where we were and the time we were at, the fucking education that they gave us was pretty like real. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Dude,
even though we were in the South,
every person I graduated from Pius with, I mean, every single person, of all the people I know in college that went on to become lawyers and doctors, they are all, not all Pius grads became lawyers and doctors. Every lawyer and doctor I know is a Pius grad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like they fucking instilled something in us where, like, because, like, I never felt like, so, for example, political divide, right? I wouldn't consider myself left, like, I wouldn't consider myself in any of the parties, even the fucking parties we got up here in Canada. I'm like, I don't know who I want to vote for. None of these assholes are doing what I want, right? So I've always kind of been like that. So Pius was a good place because it was small. You know, most people knew each other. I didn't feel like the high school dynamic was like, on one end all these people are getting shit on, and then at one end all these people are just like receiving accolades. Everybody had their strengths and weaknesses. And even with the teachers, like, so you were talking about your history thing and like on another episode, and that reminded me of like, do you remember Pinnabel? Did you have?
I remember,
okay. So like so that's the kind of guy that like is super like typical Southern conservative, like fucking like football coach, right? But at the same time, he's like, if you did something, and even if it wasn't in the way he liked it or felt was correct in his view, as long as you put the fucking work in and you saw some effort, he didn't give a shit, right? And that's what I think they instilled in us, is not so much just like do what you're told, but like if you're gonna fucking do something, do it properly and do it right.
Do it respectfully. They taught you. They didn't teach you what to think. They taught you how to think.
Right, yeah. And like when I got in trouble at Pius, it wasn't because I was like a fucking, asking stupid questions or whatever. It's because I was doing stupid shit. Like pretend to kill myself in Miss Hoarder's class, right? Like that kind of shit, right? That's the kind of, I was like a clown, but like it always had to kind of take it too far when I was in high school.
No, dude, it's, I mean, I remember writing like papers about so like an edgy teenager like just became like atheist, like, and I remember like writing like defiantly about that, and I remember like Father Dan and Father Lopez like grading it normally, like I'd get off for grammar.
Yeah, remember when Father Lopez used to pull his collar out when we couldn't answer like a question or shit? Like, it was never like we didn't get beaten for not knowing like religion or shit.
Well, not only that, they also that was their life calling was being a priest. And they never were like atheism's wrong. They just, to me, they were just like, it was still like, all right, but you should still be good to people.
Right. So and like that's the thing. Like I was raised in a very Eastern European Catholic family, so I don't think I ever told you or John or anybody, but when I was going to the South, my grandmother, like tiny gnarled European woman, was just like, Robert, they're not Christian down there. Like, she's just like totally like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They say Jesus, but I don't know who it is. And like, and then so I was like,
holy water.
Like, and then I get down to the like south, like not the like world that I think we lived in, but like, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're like, holy shit.
Yeah,
fucking Jesus land, man.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, it's not the Jesus I know, but like, I respect it. I get it.
Yeah.
But at Pius, that was kind of like made sense to me because it was a Catholic school. They dealt with religion and Jesus in the way that I understood it.
Yeah.
Than as a like fucking beat stick. Like in my mind, Jesus is just like a badass fucking rebel who was like, fuck you, Romans, fuck you, stop fucking with my people, like you fucking greedy cunts. Like that's who he was. Like you can take all that God stuff, whatever, deal with it what you want, but the core belief is that like, yo, leave my people alone, let them fucking live their lives, let them do their shit, don't fucking rob them, don't persecute them. That was it.
Yeah, no, it's I feel, man, when I got down to Valdosta, Jesus Christ, man, that was walking into a time capsule.
Oh, I'm sure.
From like 1865.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I mean, literally every day on campus, you'd see those people marching around, just, you know, they'd see a girl in a skirt and be like, whore! Like, like whore, salacious whore! And I'd just be like, dog, it's Monday.
Yeah.
It's 8 a.m., man. It's 8
a.m. Run home and furiously masturbate over her, right?
Exactly, seriously. It's like, dude, you're the guy. It's like, you know, do you know the comedian Bill Hicks?
Of course.
Yeah. He was like, man, I got a feeling he was like the people that are most. He's like, I feel like if you took any. So what? He died in like 93. He was like, I feel like Dick Cheney and like George Bush Sr. He's like, I feel like those are the guys. Those are the guys that like pay each other to like piss on each other and like they lay down in their bathtubs naked with leather necklace on, like
dude, with all this Epstein shit, like motherfucker was pretty close, like, you know what I mean, like,
yeah, man, it's like there's always the crazy like conspiracies about that shit, man, but now you see it and you're like, wait, who the fuck did? You're like, what?
It's always fucking comedians. Like, if you look at, what was it, fucking Jello Man. Who was that? Bill whatever?
Fucking Jello Man.
Fucking Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Everybody's he's the dad, right? And he's, like, fucking fondling everybody who comes within 5 feet of him, right?
Bill Cosby. Bill fucking Cosby. I mean, right? Dude, what better cover? You're the last person to ever be expected.
Exactly.
It's almost.
But you know who broke that shit? Hannibal Buress.
Yeah,
Buress started talking about that shit.
He made a joke. He made a joke about it or something. Yeah. And, man, don't. Yeah, dude. It can open up. Mm. But yeah, it always seems to. It's like there's. Yeah, it's either like entertainers, or the super elite. Political
people with power,
like
people who have yes men and shit like that around them, right?
I think like it's pretty much a prerequisite to be a politician. Like you have to have a sex scandal, but you know, I don't think they're not always bad. It's just like, all right, yeah, dude's a horn dog. What are you cheating on his wife? That's not good, but I mean, it's not illegal.
Like
whatever.
Like, and even when it comes to that, it's like, yo, if you and your wife want to, like, make a negotiation where you go out and bang a bunch of women and she still gets to be a senator's wife, have fucking at it. But, like,
more power to you, man.
Like you're this, like, oh, I'm so devout and honest and amazing. It's like, no, man, you like pussy like the rest of us.
That's
fucking,
fine.
like, just own it.
It's fine. Yeah, dude, it's like when people are like, I don't give a fuck that Bill Clinton got head in the Oval Office. I don't give a fuck. He bounced the budget and the economy went through the roof and we weren't at war. I don't give a shit. Like,
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, when it came to all this, like, growing up, seeing this fucking tennis back and forth of, like, Democrat, Republican, because when you're young and you have no context, it seems like the world is changing, but then when you fucking grow up, you're like, nothing was changing. Yeah. They were just fucking volleying the old money ball back and forth.
Yeah, it's like the Frank Zappa quote. He was like, politics is the entertainment division of the military-industrial complex.
Exactly.
Like, I still can't, like, I get sucked up into it a lot, but sometimes I still can't help but just be like, this all seems too goofy. It almost seems like it's written. And I don't think it is, but, like, part of it's like, wait, hold on. Like, we're more divided than ever. Everyone's at each other's throats. We're all he did, she did. And it's like, isn't this like the magician's left hand? Like, don't look at the right hand. It's like, well, what's going on?
Where are you seeing this actual divide? You're seeing it on what? Fucking Twitter, Reddit.
Never seen it in person.
The odd video of like some fucking person freaking out, and but honestly, and like I've lived in Toronto, a very liberal city for most of my fucking life, and I've hung out with a lot of people who, if you saw them on the street, you would think, oh, that's some like SJW fucking cuckboy or whatever. But those people don't think this fucking way. Yeah. And it's the same way where like I go down to the South and they think that everybody's a fucking racist and but it's not, that's not the same. Like not everybody's a fucking racist and a bigot. Like some people fought in the South for, people's freedoms and shit. It's like everybody is an individual. It's just we fucking group. It's this tribalism, right? Yeah, it's this fucking tribalism that follows us through life, which is weird, which is maybe where I kind of broke free, because I went from Canada to Georgia, which is like, you ain't got no fucking tribe mates down here. Like, you got to find somebody. And I did. I found John, right? And he was my tribe mate, right? Yeah. He was that other fucking kind of nice guy, but we were both assholes. And we never really, that's why we hung out so much with each other, because like we were friends. We had other friends, definitely, but like, it was like a wink and a nod, and we fucking understood what was going on with each other. And we couldn't find that in anybody else. Yeah. Like, John and I actually didn't like each other when we first met each other. We fucking were like, because we were both smart asses, we were just like taking the shit out of each other. And we kind of got on each other's nerves, and then eventually it just turned into a friendship. Yeah, right? as it does with guys.
No, dude, I feel you, but it's like what you were saying. I mean, I think of in Athens, Georgia. Is the most like ridiculously hilarious like combination of these like, trust fund kids, like super like liberal, have never left suburban Atlanta. And a mixture of these like old South like hay bale tossing. Mm-hmm. The thing is I literally lived in 2 years. I lived in a house, like literally friends from Pius, very liberal friends, and then these like redneck guys from from White County, Georgia.
Nice.
Called White. Never
called it that for a reason.
Yeah, and the thing is like seriously, but we're all still friends. There was never once. So if people are like, oh, it's just a clash, I'm like, dude, I literally had like the most liberal hippie friends and the most far right friends, and my only memories ever are all of us just getting hammered and wasted, and like I don't ever once remember a political about anything. It's all like tits, pussy, beer, sports. It was just like I don't life. So that's one thing. When
it comes to like real hardcore political theory, most of that shit doesn't actually factor into most of our lives, right?
Exactly. It's a luxury to think about and debate, but I mean, truly, you got to get your food in the morning. You got to take a shower. You got to put gas in the car. Exactly. It's very rarely. It's not until something like a draft or something. Or the Great Depression. It's not still something like that kicks you in the nuts that it touches you. Like, and I don't mean to sound like apathetic, but I mean I feel like that's the case. It's like for the most part, everything we're arguing about it's very superficial, and it's like arguing about sports teams. It's like nothing. Exactly. Nothing like, actually.
You're absolutely right. Because like if a next Great Depression comes, nobody's gonna be fucking going like Trump, Hillary. We're gonna be like, oh shit, how do we get jobs?
It's gonna be like fuck yeah.
No one will give a fuck. We have so little to do and so little to preoccupy ourselves with right now.
It's recreational anger. The only people that will be saying, oh, this is Trump's fault, or oh, this could have been avoided, are the people that still have enough food and money to be able to debate that shit. Everyone else will be like, fuck.
Exactly. Fuck. And that's the thing. Like, there's so, wait, how old are you now?
I turned 29 this past August.
Okay. So, like, I'm going to be 34 this year. So, like, you're like what, do you consider yourself like a younger millennial? I guess you're not just Gen Z, right?
I'll be honest, I don't know what I don't,
Because I think like I'm the oldest edge of millennials, and then like maybe Pat is like the youngest.
Yeah, Pat's 27. See,
yeah,
I'm
Like
retarded. I thought literally up until like 2 weeks ago, I thought millennials were you were born in like the 2000.
2000.
I just figured.
Yeah, no, it's like 85 to 2000.
Yes, okay.
So we're the people that grew up watching the internet like develop and like.
We're the
we
last
remember
ones
the first memes.
yeah. Seriously. Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No. I was just wondering because like it's a weird generational thing how like the older two generations, and again, I'm not one of those people that's gonna shit on a whole group. I just point out things where they happen, but like we have a whole generation of people. Like our grandparents or whatever that were retired by like 55, 60, right?
Yeah.
And then now bring up the next one. So like my dad's going to retire in 2 years, but like my dad's got a good fucking union job. He's a lineman, right?
Yeah.
So he's never not at work.
Yeah.
And he worked his way up the company, right? He's pretty smart, not book smart, but he's like a wise dude. Like he knows his shit. He's a hard worker.
My cousin's husband's a lineman in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so he'll be fine. But like you look at me, my brother, and my sister's gonna be okay because she like went from law and then went into insurance because that's what she likes to do. She likes to 9 to 5 it, have a dog, like that basic shit. But me and my little brother are kind of fucked because we're like builders, we're creators, and we don't like working for other people, and we don't like, what I mean? And like we like setting our own hours, but like if you give us a project, that shit will be fucking mint.
Yeah.
But we don't work to your hours, and we don't work to your like that demands and shit like that.
You're preaching to the choir, man. It's
So we have to figure our own like social security, like the boomers had, like the fucking Gen X's had. We have to have our own version of that. Like, I do believe that like that shit can be abused and that it can actually hold people back because nobody's gonna keep going if you just give them enough to like have a comfortable life. But I do believe that like there's a lot of people that get fucked, right? Like a lot of people get fucked. Well, I mean, I remember the first year of high school.
Look how lucky I am. I mean,
both of us.
I lost a brother to suicide, and that was granted. It was a month after I decided not to go to med school, but I already decided not to do that. Not to cut you off, but just to fill. Yeah, for 2 years, I had the luxury of applying to pharmacy school, got in, and then applied to a different school the next year, got in. Still pretty much holding it together, and then in summer 2016, like the reality of what happened to John really hit me. Put on 70 pounds in a year. It was glorious. Yeah. It was depressing, but pills, drinking, smoking, just everything, and moved home. And I've been home for 3 years and have only recently. So the iPhone 4 fucking was doing Photoshop on that for 2 years, and then finally last year my dad got me an iPad Pro, and I've again taught myself everything to the point where like I can now design very, very well. And now I'm in online school. But this entire time I've been seeing a therapist. I've had top-notch medical care. I'm just now slowly feeling like I'm crawling out of it. Like I'm like, okay.
We must be crawling out of the same fucking hole then, because like literally I just went and got these motherfuckers refilled. I started these after John died.
Yeah. Oh, dude, no, I started because Wellbutrin Zoloft. Yeah. Yeah,
I lost my fucking mind. Like I lost my fucking mind when John died, and then 2 months later, my aunt died. Yeah. Like she, in so many ways, also like took her own life. Yeah. And sent me an email before doing so.
Yeah.
That was just like she sent me her suicide note. So like it fucking broke me. I couldn't go onto Facebook Messenger for like 6 months because
it's like PTSD.
Yeah, because like I'd seen that morning when I got that message about John. It's like, fuck, man. Like I can't even remember timelines from that time. Like I can't remember when did I go to Atlanta for John's thing versus when did I go to Atlanta for my aunt's thing. Like it fucked me so badly. Yeah. And then the relationship I was in was like, it was fine, but because of her like cultural background, emotional support wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? It was just, and then couple that like that feeling of like losing John, losing my aunt, and then her just pressuring me to like get a 9-to-5 job, job, and I'm like, I have all this shit going on, and I could never really fucking recover. We were living in a basement apartment that I literally couldn't stand fully up in.
Yeah,
like it was just like everything was fucking horrid.
Just for side note, how tall are you?
6'5".
Jesus Christ! Yeah, see, I'm 5'8". I can sneak in. Yeah.
Like, and I was like trying to be like a good guy, you know. Yeah. Okay, we'll save some money. It's not so bad, whatever. Yeah. But like, fuck, man. At some point, you just gotta realize, like, no, this isn't worth it. Like,
the existential, it starts to. Yeah, I mean, it's in a way that's very hard to describe. Like I had my own little mixture of like. Didn't party in college. All I did was work. And really, all prior to John, it was just starting to come out. That was like, I don't want to be a doctor. Like, okay, that was the first one. And then it was like, I want to live my life. Like, I want to get back this partying I didn't do. And then existential crisis with John. Those three mixed together into like, life ends tomorrow, live today. For just like 2 years. And that's all I did. And but, you know, thank God I have my parents. Thank God that, you know, they're well-to-do enough that I could come home. I could live with them.
Yeah,
that they
could
pick up.
It does make a difference, man.
But that's one thing I always think about is, like, you know, I'm now I would say I'm classified as pretty, you know, conservative. But the one thing I can't shit on is the idea of, like, I can't do the party line of, like, there can be no, you know, free health care. Because I just think, like,
because you're in it, man.
I would be dead.
Yeah.
If I couldn't have, and that's not.
I'd be dead if I lived in the States, because like I don't have, so like my younger brother and sister were able to live with their mother, but like my mom's a nut job and I would never live with her.
Yeah.
My dad is like, he's fine, but him and I don't really, like, we get along, but we can really easily blow up because we're so similar.
Yeah.
Like we're very Eastern European, like, gotta be this way. Like, won't talk about shit, and then it'll just all blow up all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
So right now I'm living in like a room in like fucking like moose country, like fucking like I live on a lake. It's I like the environment because I grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere. But I have a psychopathic Ukrainian landlord who thinks she could dictate like when you can leave the house and like when you can do your laundry. I'm like, bitch, I'm paying you $700 a month. You don't get to say shit.
You're not mom. You're not mom.
You're not my mom. You're not my
10.
Grandmother. And if you were my mom, I'd be getting food out of this deal.
And I wouldn't be paying. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So it's a little much, and so I'm trying to find a new place, but like I'm basically unemployed. I'm doing fucking like DoorDash and trying to start like a car business thing.
Yeah.
I had some like masonry work I was doing, but it was just for a small crew. I was just covering while the main guy's son was going through chemo, but now it's winter, so everything slowed down, so the suns came back up, so that's kind of dried up. But ultimately what I'm trying to get is like bodywork certification.
Yeah.
Just work on cars, and then ultimately I'd like to start my own shop, but an art car shop, not just like oil changes and shit, but like I want to have a brand. Like I want to be able to like when you showed me that shit, some of the things you've been doing, like I legitimately look at those and try to size them and think about them like, could this go on a quarter panel? Could this go on a door? Could this go on a hood?
Dude, I'd fucking make whatever the fuck you want.
Pardon?
I said I'd make whatever you want.
You happy? Yeah. I like, and that's, I think, actually I could probably get to you in like fucking 5 hours, but we got to use these tools to like build something. No, like, these are our fucking hammer and nails now.
Exactly. It's man. That's I mean, I've been doing random minimum wage jobs like every summer since like I finished college, and
and you finish and you're no better off
exactly
than when you fucking started.
Exactly, and it's I mean, there's always like a slight like ego kick because it was like I had like a girlfriend and that went down, that went south, but that's something that I don't hold against her at all. I just she got dealt as shitty as a hand as I did by losing John.
It's like it takes two to tango, and nobody's ever fucking like even in my relationship.
Yeah, it's like
I fucked up too. Yeah, you know, it's like
I don't you know, because the reality is if I was still 23 and I wasn't the one that lost a sibling and I had everything in front of me, and then the person I just started dating 2 months prior lost a sibling and they went downhill I can't. Yeah. I would like to say I would be there, but the reality is like, how do I not know? I'd get a year into that and be like, I can't help you. So like, I don't hold it against her. But so point being, yeah, man, it's you look back like, fuck, I was gonna be a doctor. I was in perfect shape. Like
I was gonna be a marine biologist. Yeah. Like Bailey set it up for me to go to the Great Barrier Reef the following summer.
Yeah, it's. But
you know, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
Now I don't get to see the fucker.
Yeah. But yeah, man, whenever I start to think about like I could have been a doctor. So like I was telling you, like yesterday and today and the day before, I had to do like some final paper. I'm doing online graphic design courses. Yep. Just so happened to be taking 2 courses that aren't it was all like theory and shit, no designing. Just writing 2 papers for 2 days about something that I didn't like doing. Like, I felt like I was, like, selling my soul to the devil. I was just like, I hate doing this. What am I doing? And then these past 2 days have been the biggest reminder of, like, that's what I felt every day getting into med school. And I was like, that's why I don't regret what I'm doing. Like, I'm just designing. And
if you're feeling that, like, other people must be fucking feeling that too. You know what I mean? We must be living in a fucking world of people just somehow enduring this bullshit feeling.
But that's the thing is no one wants to be the first to admit. It's almost like It's almost like by not admitting it, it's not as real.
Well, it's like the first guy who stops running and suicides, right? It's like nobody wants to be that motherfucker. You just want to suffer and suffer and suffer because everybody's suffering. So it's a weird, in a weird way. It's the pure human spirit to actually want to help and want to like band together. Yeah. But it's like in such a weird fucking like not helpful way. To any of us.
Yeah, dude. I always look back and I remember I ate like an edible and I was like, shoot, it was earlier this year and it was like March and I remember I was just high off my tits laying in bed. It was an accident. I thought it was CBD. So I was just like, but I was laying there and I remember thinking like this still hasn't, this quote unquote, this whole trying to design and make a living doing what I like still hasn't worked yet, but I know it's going to. And I've had friends tell me in like drunken moments, like, man, I wish I had the balls to, just quit everything and go pursue it and like have to move home. Like, and I think like what gave me the balls to do it? And then I had this image of like football, like an offensive lineman doing like a block, knocking someone the fuck out so you can go get a touchdown. And in my mind, I thought John's suicide was like the offensive block of the century. I was running one way, and I was not going to get happiness that way because I was going towards med school. And I just think like John lowered his shoulders and knocked the motherfucker out. That being that fear, because once you have that existential crisis of losing someone, the fear of doing something that's maybe not cookie cutter, you no longer give a fuck. You're like, whatever.
You don't give a shit about yourself. You've lost one of the most important things in your life.
Exactly. You're like, what? I don't give a shit. It is no longer the worst fear. And man, that's so what you're saying. Like, we must live in a world of everyone in this. Like, so I think so, and I think that I was, I'll say, lucky enough to have John's suicide literally jolt me the fuck awake and be like, wait, what am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? Like,
right. Because that's like all intent. Like, if you didn't know John and what he went through, to see him from the outside, you wouldn't have You wouldn't have fucking like
not
no. Like the guy was on the way to be like a rocket scientist and shit. It was doing the craziest, coolest shit in the summer times. Like
dating Dawn. Like like
I know.
You're like, oh, that guy's hitting. You're like, oh, that guy's fucking hitting a triple. Like he's just he's got everything. He's got his ducks in a row. Like man, that's Hold on. Keep talking. My bladder's about to explode.
Yeah. No worries. I'll fill some people in. I'll give some background. Okay. So I remember last I remember of Tommy was like me and John playing PlayStation 2, probably like Grand Theft Auto with his like mom out of the house. And Tom's buff now, but when Tom was young, he was like super scrawny and had this like scraggly hair, and he was just like the biggest fucking troll. Like anytime John and I were hanging out, Pat would always be the nice one who just wanted to hang out and be seen. Charlie was just like stoic and in the corner lifting weights, and Tom was just shitting on everything you did constantly. So if there's anybody out there who could be a voice of shitting on everything in general, it's definitely going to be Tommy Kerrigan. That's I could say that with knowing him 15 years now. Yeah, so this is your guy. And after he's done his piss, I'm sure he'll have some very insightful things to say. This will probably be the first of many. I'm lonely and bored, so anytime he wants to call me, he's free to. Yeah, me? Absolutely. And he's back.
Me?
I kept it going.
Okay, good. That was beautiful. Normally I tell people keep it going. I come back and they're just sitting there staring at their phone, and I'm like,
I think of something to talk about.
I'm like, dude, just start fucking talking.
Like, keep speaking.
Yeah, I was just like, keep talking. They're like, I don't know what this is. I'm like, hey, you know how many people are viewing this? Nobody. I'm like, hey, first of all, it's not live. Second of all, I have 3 subscribers. Do you know who they are? Me, and me from different accounts. Oh, nice, okay. But like, I'm like, yeah, dude, it's just,
yeah.
But
well, so do you ever follow? Do you watch much on YouTube? As far as like, do you have people you follow, or did you? Because I'm sure, like. What? I'm sure when you thought about this, you were like, oh, I kind of want it to be like X. Did you ever do that?
Okay, so, actually, you know, whereas like John was the block in the backfield that like let me get the touchdown.
Yeah.
The handoff was, and I hate hipsters, but I always go full hipster when I say this. I first started listening to Joe Rogan in 2011 when it was still somewhat small, and it has nothing to do with me, but I'm always like, I started listening to him before he was like, and I'm like how fucking worthless am I that's my bragging right? But yeah, I remember.
Like, well, I was watching him on Fear Factor in 2001.
Yeah. Well, the first clip I had ever even seen of him was my best friend Matt Walker, who went to Pius. I remember him sending me a link. It was literally December 2011, and it was like, hey, like. Because, like, you know, he was like, hey, the Fear Factor guy kind of like thinks like we do. And it was a 10-minute clip on YouTube. You can probably still find it, called What is Reality? And it's just a mashup of Rogan. I literally could play it. I could mouth it the entire time. But it's just him going on and on about, like, really just like, you know, what the fuck is this life? What are we doing? If you're not kind and happy to other, if you're not nice to other people, like, you're going to be a piece of shit. And it's so simple. But I remember that was the first thing that started to sort of jog me out of like pre-med, because I was like, here's a dude that's like, he's saying all this stuff, but he's also living it, and he's wildly successful. And I was like, and so literally, I mean, like fucking like Cold War propaganda, how we'd create like Radio America and Radio Europe and like Soviet bloc nations in the 70s to sort of disseminate, like literally, like Rogan started cracking away at like my psyche of like, I want to be a doctor, I want to have a Mercedes, I want to live in a country club. And that was always, for 3 years, it just chipped away at me. And then I stopped listening to him for like the last 3 years. But as it's, I mean, you can't ignore him now. It's like, holy shit, this guy is,
he's over. Yeah.
He's the biggest voice ever.
I actually like what he's become because, okay, so like I find I've followed Joe Rogan forever too because I find I love the fact that he has just everybody on and he doesn't just like keep to like a little group of people. And like he's like, hey, you want to fucking talk to me? Okay, come talk to me. Like whether he agrees with them or not doesn't usually matter.
He'll have on someone of a certain specialty and they won't even touch the subject. They'll be like, this guy's a marine biologist, and they'll talk about skateboarding like, the entire time.
Yeah, like I have a lot of respect for somebody who can, even though it might not line up with his views, can take a professional or somebody who does that thing and sit there and listen to them and listen to what they actually have to fucking say without like all this like bullshit. And, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's because he's had
the Voltaire
he's had
quote.
Fucking everybody on. He's had like the alt-right, he's had feminine, like he's had them all, right? And he just sits there and listens to them.
He's had he has on in red, white, blue, rah Navy SEALs, and then he'll have Bernie Sanders the next day.
Exactly.
Like you can't
see. I wouldn't even say I'd be like some pussy hat girl or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like to
some
me, Sanders is like my center. I don't know about like you know what I mean. Like,
you're not.
To me, he's like center because it's like no shit. People need fucking education and fucking healthcare. Like how else are we gonna make this shit work?
You're not in
like
America, boy. Like
I guess, but it's like Ontario is definitely a conservative province in Canada. Like we've had probably the biggest conservative governments over the past 50 years, let's say. But like since the 90s, this province has just gotten dumber and fucking poorer. And like the Liberals haven't helped at all, right? It's just basically they let the Conservatives take away what like we had in the 80s and 90s, and then they just like then the Liberals came in, made a bunch of money off of our fucking like infrastructure, and then when everybody got pissed off from them making money, brought the Conservatives back in to just like cut shit again. It's just like where the fuck are we going?
It's South, and then this month we have
70,000 drop in like employment rate. Like we're fucked. We just got our credit rating downgraded twice by Moody's in the past year. Like our Canadians are living like 1.5% over their income. Collectively, like we're fucking like Wile E. Coyote running off the cliff right now.
Man. That's how I kind of feel. All of it is.
Yeah, it is because it's not. We don't build anything. We don't make anything. Everything's just like. So I don't know. I did 2 years of economics up here, and I front loaded all of my econ so that I didn't have to do all the bullshit, right? Because I went in as an older student. They give you a little more leeway with that, and so I just dropped after 2 semesters because I'm like, oh, why do I want to do math? I know how it works now. I don't need this stupid thing. So when you. Because like I find when everybody talks about like the economy, it's like this amorphous blob of money floating above us, right? But it's not really like that. It's broken down into so like Canadian economy is primarily our fucking sand oil out in Alberta, our cars, and our real estate, right? But our real estate is currently hyperinflated with like dirty Chinese money because our government didn't give a fuck and was just like, give me.
What about? I feel like you guys got like mad like timber or lumber.
Yeah, well, like that's all we are. We're like the fridge, right? We just got a bunch of shit. We don't make anything. It's just like it's in the fridge. But the thing is, like, I want to be a country that makes stuff. I mean, we're the fucking country that made the DeLorean. We're the country that made like the Avro Air, which turned into the F-14, right? Canadians make shit, and then we give it to you guys to like finish off. Like, talk about all of the 80s comedy. All those motherfuckers are from up here, like, with the exception of, like, Bill Murray and, like, those guys. But they all drifted up there to that second city, right? Like, so we've always been close culturally. It's just, I don't know how to fucking put it. Like, I think because there's fewer of us up here, shit doesn't move as quickly as it does because you don't have that massive amount of cash flow or income. But there's money up here. Like, to say that, like, I live into some fucking, like, it's so socialist and everybody's poor. It's like my great uncle has a $15 million house on 240 acres. My dad lives on 98 acres in a house he built himself, and he has a barn that he turned into his fucking car shop because he could, and now has a 1956 F-150 and a 1966 Mustang, and those are just like this year's projects. Like, the guy clears $300,000 a year. He's gonna be retiring in 2 years, and he's in a union. Like, he makes fucking mad bank. He's had an F-250 for the last 15 years that he didn't have to pay for because it was a work truck, right? Jesus. So, like, this idea that, like, I live in some socialist hellscape is, like, complete bullshit, right? You go downtown Toronto, you will see more fucking Ferraris and Lamborghinis than you have fingers. It's like New York up here, like in Toronto, right? It's a combination of New York and LA because we only got one. And Vancouver's full of, like, heroin addicts, so it's like legit. When John came up here, he could, like, it blew his mind, like, the amount of beautiful women. He had this, like, fake ticker that he would just press click every time. He would just say click every time he saw, like, an attractive woman. He's like, dude, I can't even fucking keep count anymore. I was like, I know. So it's definitely, I would say, although it's like, it's more liberal. You leave the city, like, literally 30 minutes out, 40 minutes out, and you're in a different world. Like, it's not. It's
the same. It's the same here. You leave, Like,
you live in,
Well, what people don't understand, they're like, how different is the North from the South? I'm like, dude, like, where my dad grew up, northern New Hampshire, it's more similar to southern Georgia than it is to Boston.
Fucking tell me about it. My sister, so she was married, had 3 kids. They grew up in Atlanta, but she got divorced. She's moved them back up here now, so now they're living, like, Canadian lifestyle. And I joke with them because they live in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, see, you go far enough north, you're in the South again.
People are like, how different is it? I'm like, dude, it's up north. It's like there's snow down here.
Like,
there's like
pickup trucks and guns.
Exactly. It's like pickup trucks, guns, country, God. Like, it's just, it's just, like, and generally, like, a good time. Like, like
I'd say we're in Canada. It's a little less God, but it's definitely country's good time. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the festival called Boots and Hearts up here. It's like a gigantic country Woodstock that happens every year. Actually, it happens in this town I live in, because there's so much fucking just empty space. They just clear out a couple fields, have like 4 stages, and it's like you go camping for 3 or 4 days, and it's just non-stop music.
Awesome.
Then, like, it's all fucking I mean, you'll see just as many Confederate flags up here as you will down there, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing with that, man?
Dude,
I can understand the Americans, but Jesus Christ, man.
Come on, man.
Like,
man, it's dude, it's, I don't know, it's.
But see, I'm an anarchist, so, like, that shit doesn't bother me. Because, like, I fundamentally believe in, like, live and let live. I believe in true freedom as long as you're not fucking with anybody else.
Dude,
like, that's where my...
Again, Bill Hicks, man. What was it? What does it matter? What does it matter to you? Like, who I fuck, what drugs I put in my body, what I say, and, like, what I do on weekends. I'll tell you what it is. It's none of your business. So take that to the bank, cash it, and take a vacation out of my fucking life. Yeah, it's very simple.
Exactly. And that's why it was so hard for me to even sometimes fit in Toronto with certain groups, because, like, I was a punk and, like, into hardcore music and shit, and that brings, like, a certain group. But I listen to, like, so I listen to this group. I don't know if you ever know Against Me. So this is like a punk band that's been around since like I think late 90s or whatever. But one of their first songs that I ever listened to was called Baby, I'm an Anarchist. Yeah, and the thing is, like, Baby, I'm an Anarchist, you're just a spineless liberal. And so, like, that's the shit. Like, I never thought of myself as a liberal.
I know that,
right?
I know like, that song.
No, those people are fucking pussies.
I haven't heard it forever. Baby, I'm an Anarchist, something. you fought for freedom. No, I fought
Yeah,
for freedom.
yeah.
You
Well,
fought
I was
for
like
the state.
smashing this.
For a Molotov cocktail, something. Yeah. No, I remember their song "Thrash Unreal." That was their huge song.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But like even watching that, so like they ended up being trans or whatever. But again, like you listen to the old songs and you're like, oh yeah, you were talking about fucking being a woman and shit like way back when. I was like, okay, like I'll follow that. Like again, I can respect somebody who just like low key does their thing in art or whatever. Yeah. But like, fuck Caitlyn Jenner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you understand my feeling on this?
Yeah. No, I do entirely. It's like everyone's like, why does everyone think she's a bad person? I'm like, because didn't she fucking kill someone with a car? That's why you're a bad person.
Yeah, because she was a bad person before she was a she.
Yeah,
so, like,
I don't give a shit. Like, exactly. Or conversely, like you just don't care if so and so's. I'm like, I don't care if so and so's gay, man. They make a hell of a living and they're cool. Like, I don't give a shit. Like,
yo, when I was young and like first got to Toronto, the only person I really knew there was my aunt's old gay friend who cut hair in the gay town, right? And who the fuck else are you gonna go to when you know nobody? So I'm like, hey James, what's up? Give me a haircut, make me look good. I want to go like pick up some chicks. Dude had like fucking people ready to take me out. Because, like, if you want to get laid, you go out with a bunch of fucking gay guys as the straight guy. Right? Because, like, every chick knows what's up. And if you're comfortable with a bunch of gay dudes, it, like, elevates you. Because that's all that women look for. They're looking for confidence. They're looking for a guy who, like, isn't fucking full of himself and just like, I'm not gay, blah. Like that shit closes pussy quicker than anything, man. Fucking you hear the zipper go up. Like, I learned that shit at a young age. It's better to just like go with the fucking flow and just, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, don't let people abuse others and shit like that. But like, fuck, I'm not gonna bother you if you fucking show up in a tutu or whatever. Fucking you, man.
Knock
just
yourself out. Knock yourself out. Like, it's because I mean, it's. Yeah, I think we're just saying the same thing. We're gonna beat that horse, but hey, to do a complete 180. Or back to what you're saying. What were you saying about cars and shit and like artwork and stuff? Because like what I do up until like 2 months ago, I would literally like I wouldn't design for. I would just take a square, little dimensions of square 1:1, 8192 by 8192 pixels, and I would just make whatever. Yeah. So like when you were saying like I wonder if I could fit this onto a. I can make shit to like recently I've been trying to design snowboards. So everything so everything I've been making is I've been incorporating those exact dimensions. Oh, okay. So I mean like if there's if you wanted to just make unique crazy shit, I could definitely like instead of just like you trying to fit something onto something, I could actually make something like for that, like built around this shape. Like
Yeah, I mean that's ultimately what I would like to get to. I mean, like my little brother he's got his license for CNC, so like he can do full CNC operations. But he's got no motivation. I don't know. He lives at home with my mom. What's CNC? I have to push him. But like, yo, let's not play Zelda today. Let's fucking let's figure some shit out.
What's CNC?
So it's basically metal cutting. So like,
I have no idea. So I was like,
no worries. It's just how you can make just like custom fabricated pieces. Yeah. So I like long term, not even that long, maybe within 5 to 6 years, I'd like to get a CNC machine. I'd like to get a heavy duty 3D printer. Because I want to start doing like interior custom stuff, like custom buttons, like everything. Like I want to work with somebody to make something that they want to keep for the rest of their lives. Yeah. Possibly after getting my body shop certification, I want to work on getting electrical drivetrain certification. So that if I ever find an old Tesla, I can fucking rip it apart and stick it into some other dope-ass car. You know what I mean? Like, I love doing stuff like that.
I mean, that's all black magic to me. But, I mean,
It used to be, but like it's like anything, man. You just start watching and paying attention, and shit just starts clicking together. Like you're not stupid. You went through fucking medical school.
That's dude. That's what Photoshop is, man. Like people are like, "How do you do this?" I'm like, dude, I have no. It's just literally, I'm like, make memes long enough, and literally make memes. Just make funny memes, and eventually someone will go, "Hey, that's pretty good. Would you mind making?" And you realize you're like, "Oh, okay, like okay," but. Yeah, man, like I just want to make like weird, goofy shit. But yeah, primarily like I want to do custom stuff. Like like I don't want to make like mass. Even if it was, don't get me wrong, I would never turn down money. But like in terms of like you
can get a Supreme deal. You fucking go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you sell your soul. You can always stop in a year or two. Go get
do something else.
Go get enough money. Like to me, I'm like that's one thing I always think about is like, I'm always like, I just want to design. I'm like, what if someone fucking like what if some like big corporation picked me up and I'm like, yeah, dude, I would sell my soul. I would for like 2 years. I would make enough money so that I'm like, okay. My main goal is like I want to get hired and just like save every penny for like a year or two and then be like, okay, this is enough to live out of an apartment for 10 years. Now I can get back to doing custom shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
just to make sure your fucking like your legal shit's taken care of because they might like just watch out for non-compete clauses because I've had people try to hit me with those before. I had to go to court to fight one for my ex.
Yeah.
Like most of the time the judge throws them out because they're bullshit and they're they're just like the most, like if you believe in like freedom and like building businesses and shit, you fundamentally don't believe in a non-compete clause.
Yeah, no.
Because it's like, fuck you.
Like,
you're stopping me from doing the thing I fucking lived for 5 years. Like fucking
pay me enough and I'll stop. Yeah, give me enough money and I'll shut the fuck up. But like, it's
gotta be a lot of money though.
Yeah, that's kind of like it's like all the stuff I've been designing for like snowboard, like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't ask like, hey, do you want like what I'll do is I'll just design like the weirdest, craziest shit I can and just kind of test the waters with it. Just post it and be like, like what's the response from that one? And I mean, beggars can't be choosers. So part of me is like, I'm not making any money. I live at home, but the other part of me is like, I don't want to bend over to make $1. Like it's
because I mean this is how most artists do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, except you're like, thankfully in this day and age, you have almost like instant response to the thing you make. Like I've known people who like were painters and shit, and it's just like, sometimes they'd like maybe once a year or twice a year they'd sell a painting for a couple grand and shit, but it's like it's hard.
Yeah,
it's so fucking hard. The guy and buddies making T-shirts that were making more money. We for 1 year. For that 1 year that like Party Rock Anthem was out, we fucking jumped on that shit and started making these custom flip up glasses that had like Party Rock like vinyl across, right? So like we would just fucking go to like after hours and shit and be like, yo, you got like a toonie, you got a 5, like whatever people had cash on hand. We'd fucking like throw them glasses and shit, and by the end of the night the whole fucking party's got these stupid ass Party Rock glasses on, and we've made a couple $100. It's like, sometimes you gotta. I learned a lot about hustling, running my music business, because when you're just like one dude with no connections in the biggest city in your country, like you gotta fucking just do it, right? You gotta literally just walk into bars and clubs and fucking just be like, hey, I need an opening spot, and then we're like, and you just gotta go back every fucking day. And then once you get your band on, you're like, all right, now these motherfuckers need to get paid. What kind of deal are we working out there? So like when I say like, if you need any help, I mean it. Like, and I don't expect like, if you get money, I'm gonna ask for a cut if I've helped you. But up to that point, I don't give a shit. I'd rather see you succeed. You know what I mean?
I would think less of you if you helped me succeed and then didn't want something. I'd be like, dude.
If you'd hit me up 10 years ago, you might have gotten me with no money, but not these days.
Yeah, man.
I am barely giving a fuck away, in the words of LP.
Yeah, dude, it's like I know it will. Like I know it's gonna work. I just don't know when. Like,
and that's the thing. It all goes back to that thing that you mentioned. Your friend saying like, "I can't believe you had the balls to do that." See, people have said the same shit to me. Like when I moved to Japan, even when I lived in Atlanta, like, and then I decided to stay in Atlanta. I decided not to come back after, because I was supposed to come back after 1 year. And I was like, no, I like this. I want to figure it out. But like my dad straight up told me, he's like, you've done shit that I could never do. And I was like, well, if I had done shit that you could never do and you're this successful, well, fuck, man. Like I could be way more successful.
Yeah.
I was like, I just have to find that thing that, I need a purpose. Like right now I'm doing DoorDash and I fucking hate it. Like I'll sit out there for 6 hours and just like hate my fucking life and watch other people. Cause like there's other Uber Eats and whatever. And I'll just like watch some fat guy with an ass crack, and I'm like, "Is this what I'm gonna turn into?"
Yeah,
like, dude, fuck no, man. I was like, man. I can't live this fucking life.
Dude. I did delivery for like a year before I moved home, and it's
it's the thing is, I don't think I'm special. That's the thing. I don't think I'm any fucking different. It's just like I know who I am because I've traveled. I've met so many fucking people in my life because that's the kind of person I am. I'll talk to anybody. Fucking last time I was in Tokyo, I made a buddy just like bumping cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like fucking got his contacts and shit. It's just some Japanese fucking business guy because I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's
like I don't care.
That's how I.
That's how opportunities come.
Yeah, I mean it's. Well, yeah, you asked earlier. I don't think I ever answered you. What made me want to do this?
Yeah,
and I was literally just like, I can talk to anyone, and I really enjoy it. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, when was the last time you and I physically? I mean, it's got to have been 15 years.
Probably, having said, other than hey Tom,
literally, like.
Yeah. My last, like I was saying when you were gone, my last memory of you is me and John playing like Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation 2, like on that room off the kitchen, and like Pat's just like trying to get in, like, hey guys, can I hang out with you?
Yeah.
And then like Charlie's in the corner lifting weights, and then you're just like, fuck you both.
Yeah, dude, it's
God damn it, Tommy, you fucking troll. Constantly shitting on everything.
Dude, that had to have been 2005, 2006. Point being is, I mean, we clearly are are able to just strike up a conversation.
Which is not a common, like, a lot of people can't do it, right? If Tinder and Bumble are any indication, most guys can't carry a fucking conversation, apparently, right?
Yeah. I just figured, like, more than anything, like, I just enjoy it. Like, as much as I enjoy designing, I thoroughly just fucking enjoy talking to people. And I just figured, like, well, why not record it and put it up? Like, why not? Like, best case scenario, it turns into an income. Worst case scenario, I got to talk to a ton of people.
Yeah.
And it's shit I was going to do anyway.
Yeah.
I end up sitting in the sauna or the locker room for an hour after I work out because I just end up talking to someone. So when everyone I ask, I'm like, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? Like, what's it about? I'm like, it's just talking. I'm like, think of us talking.
Yeah.
And now we're going to do that. That's all it is.
Well, for years, I've been like chopping at the bit to do something like this, but a lot of my friends in my age group are like got kids and stuff like now, so it gets harder.
Mine too.
Yeah. So it's like it's hard to find that person that's like, do you want to fucking do this?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude. No, I feel it entirely. Like it's well, I got this, I got that. My babies, and I'm just like, oh. I'm like, okay, but it's, man. I think it will all be. I think I will appreciate the sort of struggle once it's worked. Until then, I hate it. Like, like, so I pledged up a fraternity my freshman year, and it was 5 months of you're just a slave. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. You're just a slave. And it sucked. But once you get in, then you're glad it happened, because you're like, it's sort of a barrier to entry. Only people that really want, and you can shit on fraternities all you want. That's not the argument I'm making.
No, I get it.
You just like, you're kind of in. It's what they always call pledgeship. They say it's the best time you never want to have again, because you remember the struggles, you remember how terrible it is. You're like, that's great. Never in a million years would I do it again. But you're like, that was great. That's kind of how I feel now. Is like, when it works. Like, when I got into med school, all of a sudden, like, I was happy about those thousands of hours of studying by myself, because it was like, now it's cool. It's like I climbed the mountain, and now I get to look back and like see my footsteps. Yeah. Right now, I'm not at the top of the mountain. I'm in my parents' house, and I'm 29.
One thing there's a lot of fucking mountains in life. Like, the amount of the mountain range behind me right now, and I'm with you, right? I'm at the bottom of the fucking valley, and I got another fucking mountain to climb. And I'm just sitting there staring at it, like, this one's bigger than all the other ones, like, right?
Yeah.
But there is another side to it. Like, so I don't know if you one YouTube channel I have followed like kind of in and out for years is Game Grumps. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Okay, so they've always done like Let's Plays, right? But the whole thing got started by like one dude who used to do these like voiceovers describing video games, right? And you just like make a stupid character and like upload it, just like you're doing here, but like audio, no video, just fucking audio. And then they started like taking off, and so he's like, okay, well, then people started animating them. Like, animating his words without even, like, he didn't ask anybody. Yeah. People just started fucking doing it. And then he's like, okay, well, this is something. And then he just, like, fucking found some guy from Philadelphia who was, like, in his 40. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, like, but somehow they're fucking, like, they just work together. Yeah. And they figured out the algorithm and shit, so they know, like, okay, no swearing for the first 5 minutes. Yeah. Then we'll tell all the 2 jokes about Dan. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't give a fuck, but they know how to work it. Yeah. And I have a lot of respect for that. You know what I mean? And they do whatever the fuck they want. They just got their own little studio somewhere in California or wherever that they've all come together. It starts like this.
That's all it is, though. As you said it. It's an algorithm. That's all it is.
Just like you manipulated Reddit.
Yeah.
It's just an algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is.
Like, did you see 2 weeks ago, some fucking autistic motherfucker broke Robinhood trading? Are you familiar with Robinhood? Okay, Robinhood's, it's just another one of those, like, trading apps.
I thought you were talking about the actual story. I'm like, yeah, I know what fucking Robinhood is. I was like, yeah, man.
Actually, this is a literal kind of Robinhood. So it was, it's just a trading app, like a day trader app. But sometimes I'll follow the Wall Street trolls because they got some funny shit. Some motherfucker broke it and figured out how to make infinite money. It was only a matter of time till some motherfucker figured out how to work this like a video game. It was only a matter of time. Like,
you put in enough
smart motherfuckers out there. We can't do this.
Well, it's like what Duncan Trussell said about, like, said this like 5 years ago, but it's about like Congress. He was like, he's like, there's checks, balances, blah blah blah. He's like, but give it 250 years, and like a Rubik's cube, we'll figure it out. And that's why things get. But that's how I'm viewing this. Is like, man, like, you know, I look at all the amount of time I put into like weightlifting in high school, and when I started to do well in college is when I realized that I'm like, this is no different than weightlifting. It's time and effort, but if you figure it out, boom, all of a sudden I went from being an idiot meathead to a 4.0 honor roll student in college. Right. And that's how I'm viewing this too, is like, for the first massive chunk of time, it just looks like chaos. What are you doing? You're designing, you're making memes, you're trying to do a podcast, you're making fictional whatever. But if you do it long enough, I think you figure out the algorithm. It's like, figure out what people bite.
That's like doing your reps, man. It's like, all this time I've spent like staying away from media, but still watching like how the economy, like the nitty gritty data aspects of it, like without an emotional attachment, has taught me a lot more than watching like Bloomberg television. You know what I
mean? That's how. And I feel like it's slowly clicking, but to me, like that, the coolest feeling will be when it turns into income, because I've had one or two like false starts where like people, like this past summer there was like a 3-week stretch where people completely unrelated to one another in different areas all started like asking me for like custom work, custom designs. And just like that, I went from making minimum wage to I was making like $100 an hour making these custom designs. And for like 3 weeks, it was like I'm on top of the world. Like I figured it out. I finally, and then it kind of fizzled away. And it's happened like once or twice, but it's the best feeling in the world when it starts to turn from something you like to something you like that has real world like value. It's not just, I do this. You're like, I can do this and I can pay for rent and I don't have to work at a fucking grocery store.
Dude, I helped my ex go from like immigrant with no connection other than her partner in this country to running her own fucking cash business out of her apartment, like instilling in her the knowledge and the confidence that like you don't need some fucking bitch you're working under paying you like fucking garbage money, right? You could be doing this at home. And like now she's, oh, dude, like, we always had money issues, but it was, like, more in our head. But, like, we had no debt. We owned our vehicle. We would have, like, $5,000 in the bank and, like, $6,000 in cash, just, like, chilling. And we'd have no money. You know what I mean? Like, that's, like, it was, like, fucking, she was so paranoid because she grew up kind of poor and, like, everything was always tight. Whereas I grew up more middle class and like, you know, it wasn't tight. We just like, if you wanted something, you got it. You just don't go crazy. You know, it's kind of like money wasn't like a focal point. My dad didn't give a shit. He was just like, whatever. So, but like, I know I'm capable of taking somebody, and she had the same thing, fits and starts, where she'd get like 3 or 4 clients 1 week, and then the next 2 weeks would be dry as fuck. Now she's like clearing $1,500 in cash a week, like easily, not even pushing herself, just with the rotation, right? Because she's built it up over what's been 4 years now, and everything was through Instagram. Nothing, like, I think maybe she's done $30 worth of like Facebook advertising, but like we kept everything super low. We got all of our products locally with the exception of like some tweezers and shit that she needed from like Switzerland or whatever. But like you keep it local, you keep it fucking low cost, and then you use things like Instagram and to really start like getting your fucking message out there, and it'll start picking up eventually.
Yeah, man. It's like I know. Like I can't say who because he said he was in a contract, but some dude was a gold medalist snowboarder messaged me on Instagram and told me he fucking loved my snowboard designs.
Is he from Canada?
No. And
it's like, did he get kicked out for smoking pot that 1 year?
No. But I was like, can I make you one? And he was like, I'm under a contract. No, I can't. And he was like, I can't. I don't want to risk that. And I was like, no, I get it. But in my mind, I was like, okay, like I'm just using that as like a marker. I'm like, okay, gold medalist snowboarder said he liked my snowboard designs. I'm like, I'm on the right path. It's just
exactly. You just gotta. It takes motive. Like it's like a fucking, I don't know, like anything, like any sport, right? Once your team starts getting that like motivation and they start to get the ball rolling, like you're gonna fucking run over people.
Yeah.
Like and it doesn't matter if you think, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Like, something is good enough for you to do this. Clearly, we're sitting here talking while millions of other people are not doing this and not building towards these kind of things. They're sitting at McDonald's or whatever going, oh, fuck.
I
have $100 to my name right now. And, like, I'm thinking, like, trying to like, scheme about how to pay rent next month. But I'd still rather fucking be here than some fucking counter.
Yeah, it's like what Bill Hicks said. He's like, if you're chasing your dream and you're in your early 30s and you're laying on a futon in your parents' attic and all your friends are married with jobs and houses, and you're thinking, what am I doing? Why am I chasing my dream?
Right.
He goes, let me tell you something. Every single one of those guys who got married because they were comfortable, they got a job because it was convenient, they had kids because it was the next thing to do, and they're sleeping in a king-size bed in their own house, they're jacking off to the idea of living alone on a futon in their parents' attic, going, why don't I just chase the dream? And that's how I view it. I'm like, if I did anything else, it would only be a matter of time before I'd be like, man, what would it be like if I just started chasing the dream again? And that's kind of how it is now. It's like,
well, I did chase, like, my 20s after I came back from Japan. I was, like, all in there. I had a roster of 4 bands. Like, I had fucking bands opening for the Dead Kennedys and, like, well-known fucking Misfits and shit. Like, I had, Jesus. Like, for the amount of time I was doing it, the amount of, like, quality shows I got out of that fucking thing was amazing. But then my partner in the business, who was also a lead singer, kind of just, like, went super depressed. The band broke up after a cross Canada tour, and it just kind of all fell to shit. You know what I mean? And then my ex came back to Canada, and then I think I probably just was like, didn't know what to do, and she messaged me, and I just jumped 2 feet back into that fucking, like, nothing life, and proceeded to pour all of my spirit into her, to like let her succeed.
Yeah, comfort. It's very easy to.
Especially I gotta piss. You got a mother like mine. Yeah. Fuck.
I gotta piss again, Rob. I'm sorry for.
No, do it up. So yeah, for those wondering, my mother's basically dropped me for, like, I don't know, anything. So my codependence issues are pretty high up there. Dealing with them though. Yeah, because it's always a process, right? Because, like, I think everybody just wants to be taken care of in a certain way, right? Nobody wants to, like, have their ass wiped, but it's nice to have a dinner made for you once in a while, right? And reciprocate. I mean, fucking make a dinner back, but holy shit. Someone make me a fucking dinner. I just love going off into the unknown. Oh, we're definitely going to have to edit this. I think you can hear Tom's pissing.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Dude,
we're going to have to edit that. I'm pretty sure your mic picked up the piss.
Really? I hope so.
I just heard this, like, constant...
Oh, no, I have a fan. I have a fan right outside that. No, it's for white noise, yeah.
Fucking top quality podcast here.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, no. It's... Yeah, it's what you're saying is it's the allure of not doing. Again, I always say this loosely because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. Like a podcast, custom designs, like I don't know what the fuck it's gonna be, so I just call it this. But the aside from living at home and not having a social life or really living with your parents and being like, the fuck am I doing? The allure to not doing it is its comfort. It's you may not like your job, but I mean if you have an income and you have a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, you go get beer with your friends on Friday, it can very slowly act almost as like a lullaby. It can just seep you into it, and it's comfortable, and it's I completely see. I don't shit on. It's not for me. I don't shit on people that do it. I'm like, dude, I get it.
No. Yeah. Like that's not where. It's just I know.
No.
I do it. Yeah. I'm putting a fucking gun in my mouth.
Exactly,
like you know what I mean? It's like
exactly.
That's
I'm like, right? I know I will not survive.
Yeah.
So like I always think like, am I happy that like I've embarked on this thing, or do I wish that like I could numb it just enough to go on in that life? It's
no, because the fucking sedative always ends at some point. You just don't know when it's gonna end. Like life is long, And the thing is, we're so humans, right? We just like look at what's in front of us and what's like a couple weeks ahead, maybe, because that's usually all we can fathom.
Yeah.
You can try to think about like years and years and years, but
you always think you always think
Yeah.
you have it figured out.
Exactly.
But you
It's
look
like
at yourself 1 year ago, you're like, look at that idiot.
Right.
As if the same thing isn't going to happen in a year.
Exactly, right? Like it's like that fucking Social Distortion song. It's like everybody does what they think's right. Like it's like nobody fucking does things thinking like I'm gonna fuck this up. Like
Yeah.
it just happens.
Yeah.
Right?
You seen that meme where it's like, you know, cute girl, a little out of my league, messages me on Instagram and, hey, I think you're funny. And it's like my brain. It's like, I'll jump into this, have a quick burst of puppy love, and then have my heart torn to shreds. Like, fuck it, let's go. Like,
yeah.
I'll do this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like Sam Kinison. He's like, it's like love, you know. Just got out of divorce, but now new girls pay me attention, and love is like, come on, Sam, this one's it. I really like you. This is really, and, you know, my heart's very cautious. Come on, Sam, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna, and then it rips your fucking balls off, like.
And that Sam Kinison.
Yeah. Ow!
Scream.
Yeah, but that's how it is. It's like I almost feel like I'm like, man, you know, I could do med school, or I could be a physician's assistant, not live at home. You know, what's all this design stuff doing for me anyway? It's you know, I could have a job, I could have friends, I could get out of my parents' house, but I know like as soon as I crawl back into it, it's gonna be like dipping your balls in gasoline.
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta ask yourself is like, okay, what happens on that one day when you're a doctor, you've got your fucking G-Wagon, you've got your house, you've got your pool, you got everything, and you're taking patients, and just one day, this fucking hotshot of a like guy who's doing exactly what you wanted to do walks into your fucking office, and you sit there and talk to him for 30 minutes, and he walks out, and you feel like shit. You feel like you just want to end everything.
You see some guy, talking, you're like, this guy's no smarter than me, and you see him walk out, and he's in a goddamn fucking like Maybach, and he's like, oh, you're like, oh, this guy's, and he's doing everything, and he's loving it.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
Forget the money.
Script, or you can go into the doctor's office and tell the doctor, "Hey, I was going to be a doctor once," and he's like, "Wait, you were going to be a doctor? What do you do now? Podcasts?" And like walk out the office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like,
That's the thing. Is like, dude,
that's a fucking ballsy move, man.
Dude, I got in a conversation the other day with an anesthesiologist in the sauna.
Yeah.
So some dude I was just literally didn't know him, started chatting to him. And we started talking, and I was like, no, I was like, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do anesthesiology.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, he was like, yeah, man. I was like, dude, I was like, I know how hard it is to get in. And I started talking to him. And he was looking at me. He was like, what do you do now? And I'm like, well, I live at home now, and I'm kind of making designs that no one's buying, but I think it will work. But I've said it at doctor's office too, and they always kind of look at me. They're like, so why didn't you do it? And I was like, I was just fucking miserable. So I think I'm just going to pursue what makes me happy. But yeah, you can kind of see it, and sometimes they'll be like, that's cool. Or like, and I sort of see myself in them, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm glad I didn't do this.
Well, I always find it funny that like Canadians and Americans, I think, are very similar in a lot of ways, right? Especially when it comes to like freedom. Right, our obsession with like personal freedom.
Yeah.
But for a fucking
fuck off,
North America, so obsessed with personal freedom, everybody seems to do the exact same fucking thing, right? You know, it's like nobody seems to and almost looks at you like you're a fucking mutant if you talk about like doing odd things or you know.
Like what are you doing? I'm designing weird shit and trying to put it on shirts. And they're like, oh yeah, how's that working out for you? Oh, I live at home. They're like, oh, okay. And it's just kind of like, what? Yeah, but no, it's very, I hadn't thought about that. It's very ironic. We're all freedom, liberty, life, pursuit of happiness.
Right.
And then
none of us do.
And then you decide you don't want to march down that road, and all of a sudden, you're the outcast. You're voted off the island. You're, look at this fucking weirdo.
Because I think there's also a lot of, I think we use that it's like a facade, right? It's like freedom and guns and da da da. But a lot of people are really fucking scared. Like a lot of people are really scared personally, right? They might not show it, but it comes out in different ways. Yeah, but it's fear. It's all fucking fear based, and it comes from the media. Like the fucking media up here is just as bad as it is down there. Like I live in Toronto, and you would think I lived in a fucking like war zone. Yeah. Like if you watch the news, right? And like I think I've heard a gun go off maybe once in the city, right? Like it's a fucking pistol, but like who cares? It's a fucking city. Shit's gonna happen. It's not like this is 1920s New York where we got like 9 gangs running the entire city. Like it's like chill the fuck out. There's a couple gangs up north. There's a couple of guys who come in from Scarborough to like rip off old people, like rich people's cars. It's like that shit happens. I mean, it's gonna happen when you have poor people with nothing to do. Like,
It is. It's definitely it's fear.
Yeah, it is.
Because in college, I started to realize there was like a creative side to me that I loved, but it wasn't that like it's not like I ever looked down on it. It was just like, I can't do that.
Well, like, it's because you and I can both fit comfortably into the like manly man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you lift, like I've never been like a big dude, but I'm tall. I grew up in the country. I know how to fire a gun. I drive a stick. Like you know what I mean? Like I check boxes. I have a full head of hair. I've got it. But like at the same time, it seems that like we're also faced with this like, oh, white guys have it so well, and it's just like, not really, but like some of them, you know what I mean? It's
some of them, sure. It's like, but no,
absolutely have it way too well, but like most of us don't. Most of us are just like fucking hustling and struggling like everybody else. And the world, like, because like, so I mentioned there's lots of money up here. So my older sister, so we both have brothers and sisters that aren't related to each other because of divorce and all that kind of stuff. So her younger sister, who's the same age as me, ended up marrying a guy up here who's actually probably the richest family in this province, like bar none. And not just in the province, also they're huge in California. So big, in fact, that his cousin was put away for murder because he kidnapped his girlfriend and fucking scalped her and then killed her. And like this is the kind of level of entitlement I'm talking about because she didn't want to be with him anymore. Like, and then his uncle crashed a Ferrari FXX. I don't know if you're familiar with that. There's like 5 of them in the world. Okay. And just like joyrided it and fucking crashed it up at Laguna Seca. So like, this is the kind of like, I have no respect for that kind of, you know what I mean?
But I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone has respect. Yeah,
it's like, and even the guy, it's like he does exactly what his dad does in the same area. So it's like, hey man, if you'd moved to Alberta and started your own shit, you know, with like under a new guise and just hustled, then I'd be like, fucking all power to you. Like you took the tools, you took your resources, and you built something somewhere else. Like, but I really don't have much respect for somebody who can't leave their fucking dad's backyard. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then like everybody around them, it's like, oh, I design houses. Oh, I do like interior design. Yeah, for the fucking houses you already sold. Like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, you're not really doing business.
It's like when a writer gets. It's like when a really good writer goes under a ghost name and they still sell 1 million books. Yeah, and it's like, oh, you're just a balling writer. You're just an amazing writer. You're not sitting on your name. Like, that's cool. Yeah, man, there's definitely some, I think there's a lot of that in pursuing what you love is, like, I got into med school, but still at the same time, a lot of it feels like, I mean, I worked my fucking ass off, but it's still like, I got to go to St. Pius. I got to go to the University of Georgia. Like, you know, a wonderful family, came from a wonderful upbringing. It's like I did that and I'm very proud of that. But there's something like to create something on your own, but purely from creativity. Like, as much as I want like a handout, I just want to win the lottery. I just want someone to give me $10 million. Yep. At the same time, I don't, because it won't be as satisfying. Like, I want it to work, and I want it to just be like, I fucking did that. Like
difference between like building your own car and buying a car.
Yeah,
you still have a car at the end of the day, but I guarantee you that built car is going to feel differently.
Yeah.
It's going to mean something differently to you.
Yeah, man. I mean, Joe Rogan's had on, a million different comedians, but they all, if you go through, thousands of episodes and years apart, you'll find a common theme, and I always bring it up, and it's the one thing that always sticks out to me, is every once in a while they get on the topic of like, when did you know you made it? And none of them ever say like, oh, when I got my mansion in the Hollywood Hills, or when I got my Netflix. They all say the same thing. They go, when I could start paying for rent and food with stand-up comedy. And they all talk about, they go, it's like a mystical feeling of like, oh my God, I'm doing what I like. Like Ari Shaffir talks about, that's what pulled him out of like suicide, was like, I started being a working comic, not a comic. He's like working.
Every night, fucking out,
paying for rent. Like, so like, sure, I could make a design company and be worth oodles and boodles of like money one day, but to me, like, the one thing I dream about is like when I can design and then pay for shit with that.
It means, have a life.
It to me, that's like, that's more valuable than $1 billion. Like, if you
I think this is us getting, like, honestly, because you look at the fucking, if you've studied history, if you studied economics, this economic, like, environment that we live in is very new, right? It's only like 30, 40 years old, like this process, not to mention the technology that's only come in the last 20 years is like, accelerated it just to like a crazy, it's just like fucking nitrous oxide in an engine, right? Like, we put it in there, but we don't know how big the shot was, and we're just hoping the fucking thing doesn't blow up on us, right? Like, that's where we're at right now. This is the new Wild West. We're gonna be in like 2090, and this will be like our 20s, fucking 30s. We're living it now.
Roaring 20s. We're about to go into the 20s, man. Why can't it be a roaring 20s again? Like,
exactly. Except we have this tool now.
Exactly. Like, we have the least excuse out of any creative people in history not to go after it. Because it used to be like, you had to paint shit and hope you don't get the plague and, go into the city square and hope you don't step on a rich person's like horse or something. Like,
right. And the other person you might respect or like whose art you follow lives 9,000 miles away and you'll never see them in your life.
Or they died a millennia earlier. Like,
Whereas like now you can fucking like, like this, right? Like, 100 years, fucking 40 years ago, how would we have had this conversation?
Exactly.
It would have been like long distance fucking calls and bullshit.
And if we did, where would you put it up? And if you could, who would view it? No one.
Exactly. We'd have to record some LP and try to like huck it out the back of our cars.
Like
and
Tupac.
like, so much harder.
Yeah, it's like right now, the fact that I can talk to someone I haven't physically seen in a decade and a half. Mm-hmm. By this evening, have it uploaded, and then be able to share it with people who I also went to high school with that I have not seen in a decade, and have people view it and get feedback. Like, I'll get texts like, hey man, I watched it, it was pretty cool. Like, there's no reason not to do it. There's literally the only limiting factor.
Yeah, it's always just our own fear, right? Oh, what are people going to think about this? Oh, this is stupid. Oh, look, I'm not good enough for this shit. It's always that stuff, right? Well, myself included, right? So fucking
yeah, man, it definitely is the Wild West. Like, deep fakes are starting.
Oh, shit,
it's
know.
Like, man.
I know we have a generation that can't tell the difference between like what's real and fake on Facebook, and now they're fucking hitting you with deep fakes. Like,
the most
powerful, they're done.
The most powerful person in the world shit posts on Twitter.
I know, right? Like photoshops his face onto a 16-year-old kid. Because he's mad he didn't get on the front of a magazine.
Dude,
like, holy shit.
We are in the Wild West. Yeah.
Because like that's the thing. You guys, we both, the people running our countries right now are both entitled little rich kids. Yeah. Because we have an entitled little rich kid, and you guys have an entitled little rich kid.
I would say, but it's one thing I look at. Like him or hate him, but the one thing I look at is like, this dude got into the highest office in the land by basically talking shit and throwing shade and posting memes. So I'm like, I don't even.
Yeah, he showed and I don't even know if, because like when it comes to Trump, he does have like, and see, I'm the kind of person who, when the election was happening, I didn't like either of them, but I was hoping that it was Trump that got elected, because I'm the kind of person that knows that when people talk shit, if you just fucking throw them the keys, that shit talk like kind of turns into like a panic.
Yeah.
Here you go, buddy.
The sort of like, all right, like gloves off, let's go.
Yeah, I'd rather just like, instead of talking shit, let's go in the ring, let's see what happens. And it's just like, I haven't followed everything. It's been entertaining, but it's like the shit that people are getting like bent out of shape about. It's like that he's a troll. It's like, none of this bothers me. I don't give a fuck that he's like that. The shit he says, I don't care. No, right? I don't give a fuck. The things I give a fuck about are like national security, shit like that. Like, I don't personally, like, as a Canadian, I want China out of my country. I want Russia out of my country. I don't want these fucking entities in my country. Yeah. Because I know they don't do good shit, right? Because I know,
and they don't care about your
fucking refugees from both of these countries coming to my country, right? Yeah. Like, I don't want my country to become that.
You are not their interest. Yeah, it's your well-being is like, not there.
That shit, and we're kind of fucked because we're small. You know, we don't have as much power. So like it's kind of shitty right now that like Trudeau and Trump don't like each other, because like it's opening us up to China. And if you're opening us up to China, you're opening yourselves up to China.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want them on your fucking front door.
Yeah. Well, Canada is... You guys are... You're probably all right, though, because the U.S. has such a vested interest. I mean, where was the early warning radar in the Cold War?
Yeah,
it's all across northern Canada. Yeah. Where's the northernmost United States NSA listening post in the world? Alert Canada. You know, exactly. Where do we have missile systems? None of it Canada.
I don't know if you guys know this, but you use us as a proxy to get into other countries all the time.
Yeah.
Because RCMP, like the Mounties, which is like basically our FBI, have world jurisdiction. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like RCMP can fucking roll into Dubai and arrest somebody.
What the fuck?
They have that power because Canada is like, everybody's like, oh, it's Canada. You know what I mean? It's not like an invading force. Yeah. If they're there, they're probably there for their own business or whatever. But we also have like, it's funny because like everyone's like, oh, Canadian military, it's a joke. And honestly, I think the Canadian military would rather be seen as a joke than for what we really are. Because, like, it's just, like, small, specialized units. Like, that's mostly what our military is. Yeah. It's a lot of, like, special forces and shit. I think, like, the Joint Strike Type, we have two that are, like, our basics. But, like, those two guys could... Like, Rangers come and train with them.
Yeah.
Because, like, they know, like, oh, these motherfuckers, like, because they have to train up here.
Yeah.
They send them up to the fucking Yukon. It's like 6 months.
Exactly.
See you in 6 months, assholes.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, they don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even NORAD.
Yeah.
Our the brain of our worldwide sensors is in coordination with Canada.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like I feel like in coming from zero military education, I feel like they practice on such like a real level of like they don't care about who's in office or who's doing this. It's about like how many tanks are going to come rolling down. I feel like for that reason, again, this is all just me bullshitting. I feel like America probably just has plans. Well, for all intents and purposes, Canada is America.
It's like it's already, it's not. I don't think they would ever do anything militaristic because there's really no point. Like, there's what I mean is like it's better to have peace and trade.
I'm saying your well-being is like America is very interested in your well-being because that is our well-being.
Well, it goes both ways, right? Like, we use you to make money, and you use us to make money. Like, it's like we have all the resources, but you have the people. So, like, when we design something, right, like the fucking BlackBerry, like, that shit came from here. We wouldn't have smartphones without that shit. But we had to go to the States to fucking make it a real thing, right? So, it's kind of like, this country is almost like a fucking incubation. You know what I mean? Like, it's people will come up here, especially now. Tech sector in Toronto is just like skyrocketing because we got tech. We've got a lot of people bringing movies and television. So much more up here now. Like, you're hard fucking pressed to walk around Toronto in the summer and not see a set.
Yeah.
Like, constant. It's just fucking constant. But that's good. That means I knew, like, when I was living there, I knew like 5 people working on Star Trek, like costume designers, makeup, like whatever. And then they just did their regular jobs, but they fucking made bank.
Yeah.
Because like they would make more doing that shit. But because it wasn't like a 9 to 5 like daily thing, it was just like whenever the show comes up, they would still have their daily job.
Yeah.
Like a fucking games store, right?
Yeah,
It's like super easy, laid back, making like, $15 an hour or whatever, minimum wage, and like just fucking going. Like it's good opportunity.
Yeah.
Like that's why I feel like with the YouTube thing, there's a big hub. Like there's so many Toronto YouTubers emerging, like getting more popular because there's a huge like film industry here, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody's got cameras, everybody's got fucking shit. Even my buddy, who's one of the lead singers of one of the other bands I worked for, his dad moved to Toronto from like Morocco in the 70s and ended up creating a recording studio called First Canada Studio or something like that, and recorded Rush's first album.
Jesus Christ.
Just like, and my buddy Jeremy, he's hilarious because his dad's Moroccan and his mom's Israeli, so he's a Jewish Muslim who looks like Satan. He's just got this like fucking dark black solid beard with slick back hair and just like a really olive dark complexion, but he's the sweetest dude, right? Yeah. I'll send you actually some of their music. I think you'd really dig it. But like this, I feel like, and like this is not a slight on America, but I feel like it's easier to reach the American dream in Canada these days. Probably. Oddly enough.
Probably.
Like, I mean, it's sad because it shouldn't be that way. Like, if anything, we should just be like fucking even keel, more or less. But like, fuck, like that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad, man. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's easier to move up in like, fucking. Yeah, it's irritating because like so much of the U.S. is like shut off from like money flow. You know what I mean? It's all like concentrated in fucking New York and California.
Yeah,
it's like I get that, but at the same time, like all of these other fucking places have talented people and voices. Stop making them move halfway across the country just to fucking get something started, right?
Yeah,
like,
man, that's.
Like, I've even considered it, because, right now I really don't have, everything's loosened up in the air, and I've considered, why the fuck don't, because Canadians can stay in the States for, a year without a visa, and, why don't I just fucking go down there? I got a car, just fucking tool around, meet some people, try to get something going, and, because that's, I took up and went to Japan for 2 years on a whim.
It's one thing I almost don't want to do, when I design shit, I purposely up until I started taking these classes 2 months ago, I never watched a tutorial, I never watched any videos, I never looked up styles, I just did whatever I wanted because I wanted it to be unique.
Yep.
I feel like if it's such it seems like the thing you do if you want to do entertainment or creativity. It's you got to do Manhattan or Los Angeles. I feel like if everyone's been doing that for so long, by not doing it, you're bound to create something different.
Exactly.
And what that is, I don't know.
No, I actually completely agree with you because it coincides with the technology, right? It intensifies everything. If you've followed YouTube over the last 10 years, how many fucking times have they changed their monetization structures, their algorithm? That shit changes with the fucking winds, right? Yeah. So the fact that all of these people are so entrenched and they have their YouTube communities, it's we all got our buttons and shit. Yeah, it does absolutely lead to another kind of hierarchy and another kind of in crowd, and then it takes away from that actual artistic. It's just a bunch of fucking hipsters, right?
As soon as it turns into anything like that, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. But I mean, things are changing so rapidly. There's no reason that we wouldn't, like, even the flow of money. It's people got fucking Venmo. Like, you can do a bank transfer, right?
Yeah.
It's not, you can do shit in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And still make it work.
Yeah. I don't think a geographic. Yeah.
Yeah, Russian trolls taught us that. You can make lots of fucking money from the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah, seriously.
It's just fucking bang.
Seriously,
just make some bullshit meme.
Yeah,
right?
Seriously. You can fucking influence a different election.
Right? Oh, man. And that's the thing. Like, I think that's the thing a lot of people don't understand is, especially older people, when they hear, like, Russia hacked the election, they think, like, fucking Vladimir Putin was on a laptop. Like, you know, like, everybody votes for Trump. It's like, no, man, it was just a bunch of, like, fucking Macedonian 20-year-olds who didn't have shit to do, or a bunch of shit posters. And then someone offered them cash to continue shit posting. And they did. Right? Opportunity. Like, whose fault is it? Is it the Russian kid's fault, or is it everybody else's fault for being such a dumbass and fault? You know what I mean?
And
so
taking
easily
it hook, line,
lockstep into this nonsense.
Fucking
well, it's like I got wise to that shit like years and years ago when I think JP, you remember JP, right?
JP Veriano.
John Paul. Yeah. He had posted something, or like commented on something someone else posted. And it was about, like, liberals hating the military, like, a bunch of things. And I'm like, once again, I was like, I live in Toronto. I know the hipsteriest fucking hipster people. And they even understand the need for the military, right? Like, their issue with the military isn't that we have a military. It's that we don't want to be wasting a bunch of bullshit money when we don't need to, because we understand there's a lot of fat in military budgets, right? It's not like all going to the troops. Right?
I mean, come on,
why are they all on, like, going to the VA? And, like, we create heroes out of these people, and then when they get home, we're like, all right, you're homeless, sorry, dude. Like, it's fucking, exactly, it's fucking bullshit, right? Like.
It's like,
like I don't hate the military. I hate the people who send our people to die for nothing. That's who I hate. To, like, secure opium fields so that more people can die of opium addiction over here again. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Like, what, we have armed soldiers and M1 Abrams tanks around opium and around poppy fields, like,
exactly, right. Like, nobody ever asked, why are we in Afghanistan? The Saudis attacked us.
Seriously.
We're still friends with them, right? Like, okay. Fuck, man.
It's that cash money, man.
Exactly, man. And it's, it turned my stomach. Man, when they pulled that Iraq shit, and it's like, okay, you gotta go along with it, but then, like, as more information comes through, you're like, wait a second.
It's literally
this motherfucker just, like, was, like, mad because this guy tried to kill his dad and some shit. It was just like, no way.
It really was like, now that we're here, let's just stop on in. It was like, it's like saying, hey, we're not going to the bar, we're going to the grocery store. But then you go to the grocery store and the bar's right next door. You end up going to the bar and it's like, dude, what the fuck? You said we're getting groceries. And
the funny thing is the second, like, the fucking week that they figure out how to get a little more juice out of a lithium battery, or they've somehow figured out, like, made a break in battery technology, that whole fucking place is just going to implode because nobody's going to give a shit about brown garbage in the ground anymore, right? With the exception of, like, shit we've got at home to make plastics and, like, that kind of stuff. But, like, we don't have to go halfway around the world to make plastics. It's not as intensive process as supplying every car on the street.
Once electric cars become the norm, you're gonna see a lot of freedom needing to be delivered to Africa.
I can't fucking wait till that shit happened, because, like, my ideal is, like, off the grid completely, like, fucking solar panels, fucking water replenishing, like, all that kind of shit, because, like, at the end of the day, it's just like, these motherfuckers just keep jacking up these prices. Like, I'm in the middle of goddamn nowhere with, like, a pretty good house, and fucking power out here is just insane. Like, it's fucking insane. And there's a nuclear reactor, like, I don't know, 15 kilometers like north of us. So it's like there's no fucking excuse. Niagara Falls isn't that far away. We're in the hub of fucking energy making, and they're like, no, that'll be $200 a month, please.
Yeah.
Fuck, blow me, like seriously. That's always been my problem with Canada as well, is that we outsource so much that it seems like we don't take care of the people here. Like, we have a highway, we have one toll highway in Ontario that goes like fucking almost from every major city that you could want. But we don't own it. The fucking conservatives sold it to some European company so that every Canadian who drives on this motherfucker is basically shilling money out of our country. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I get privatization and shit, but like, Canadians are using this, and then we got to use Canadian money to take care of it because our winters are shit. But we don't like collect any fucking money off of it. Like, it's the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, when it comes to things like, so like, I believe that utilities and shit should be like their own economy, right? So because I understand how economies are broken up. I think ideally it would be like utilities are one economy, right? It's understood there's not going to be a lot of growth. That's where you would put like, you know, savings, bonds, like fucking low yield investments. That would all go in there, right? And then you could have another market, which is like what all of our markets are like, which are super fucking, you know, up, down, buy, share, sell, right? And that's cool, but I think it should be treated almost like sports is treated. So, like, if you want to fucking sell your soul to make $100 million, fucking have at it, dude. Yeah. But that shit has to then go back into the system. You don't get to, like, stick it on an island for 100 years. You know what I mean? It's like you made the money here using the resources and people available to you.
I get that argument.
Use the shit, have your time, buy your fucking cars and whatever, but make sure that shit gets put back in the system so that some other motherfucker who wants to become 100 millionaire can also do that.
Yeah.
Right? And then all the lazy fuckers who don't want to, so be it. They'll do their thing, right? They'll get by on their $3,000 a month or like whatever. But like this idea that, because like in Canada, there's like one guy who owns like 2 cities. Like, you don't get to fucking do anything in these 2 cities without his say so. And that's fucking bullshit. Because like these cities are hundred thousands of people, right? And like, now they're gonna be told like you can have your porch only 2 inches, and like that's the thing. It's always like fascistic bullshit, right? Like it's never like to help everybody and make it all better. It's so one guy can have a town that looks the way he wants it. It's like, fucking blow me, man. Like,
fuck that.
This isn't your world. Like, fucking, you want to do that? Grab your fucking money and go make a town in the middle of goddamn nowhere, right? Like, I have no respect. Like, I have no respect for people who do like blatant shit. Because like, so for example, 2008, there was like a huge ransacking of our generation, right? I lost thousands of dollars. But like the people who fucking did it didn't lose shit, right? It was everybody else, right? We had to pay. Canadians paid into your bailout. How the fuck do you think that made us feel?
USA.
Right? And then you don't even fucking imprison the fuckers. Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, we definitely need to.
That's when that military budget. That's when you go, oh, that's why those fuckers have such a big military, because you can fuck someone over and then what are you gonna do? You know?
Exactly.
It's a bully thing. It
is.
Rob,
I'm sure we're like super long. Right?
I was gonna say we're a minute short into 2 hours.
Oh yeah. You want to call it?
I do.
Yeah.
I have to do my last project for school and then
Absolutely.
I'm finished. Do you want to do it again?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
totally.
When are you free?
I don't know. Whenever. Just shoot me a message and I'll be here.
Whenever. I'll be right here.
Like your fucking homeless muse.
Yeah. Give me a quarter, sir. I'll be right here.
I'll bring my dirty McDonald's cup.
I'll dance for you, sir. I promise. I'll do a caricature with a piece of charcoal. Man. Fucking A, bro.
Yeah, this has been good, man. Anytime. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I'm down to do it. I mean, yeah, because now, once I finish this project, I'll have 2 weeks before my classes start up again. So I want to try to rack up as many podcasts as I can in the next 2 weeks.
Nice. Yep.
Would you be down to do it again sometime in the next 2 weeks?
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for coming on, dog.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Fucking blast.
I've always thought about doing one of these, and fucking go figure, it's my best friend's little bro. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. All right, dog.
Well, all right, man.
All right, dog. Peace.
You take care of yourself. Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, man. All right. Later.
Peace, bro.